Where are all the participants? We just have
Deji's on the
11.
call. Deji's on the call already, so I'm admitting him already. No, sir, you can just introduce him and say welcome once he joins. No, sir, did you hear me? All right, you're welcome, Mr. Deji.
Okay.
I just made you a co-host. You're able to unmute. All right, no, sir, over to you.
Welcome, Mr. Deji. Thank you for joining us today. How has your day been?
Very well, thanks. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for joining. So approximately you have the session around 4:25.
Okay.
That's a 10-minute session, and our moderator will take it up from there. And after your presentation, we have question and answer from the audience or from the respondents. Thank you.
Okay, understood. Thanks.
All right, so it's 4. I'm admitting everyone now to be on the call. So, and over to you.
Hello, everyone. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another interesting edition of our first Thursdays. Okay, give me a second. Give me a minute, guys. I have some technical issues, but I'm trying to sort it out. But kindly let me know in the chat box if you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, I can.
So we should.
Hello, and yes, we can.
Okay, so sorry about that. I was told my network was having issues, so I tried to sort that out before continuing, but apologies for the break in transmission. Once again, welcome to First Thursdays, which creates a platform for agripreneurs across Africa to connect, to learn, to interact, and also to share opportunities. I can see Ayoline Agri Enterprise saying, yes, I can. Thank you for that confirmation, Ayoline. All right, so I want you, my name is Anne Obize. I am the communications officer at Africa Food Changemakers, and it is my delight to be your host for today's virtual session. I want to see you type in the comment section. Tell me where you're joining from. Let's get to know where you're joining from, your name, what you do in the comment section. I'm going to run you through the agenda for today. And I just want you to get excited and be expectant because we'll be looking at Agri-Business Connect and strategy adaptation in Africa. This is timely, this is interesting. And I'm sure every entrepreneur here will be looking forward to ways to, to connect and expand across Africa. So, and I want to let you know that our facilitator is already in the building and I'm sure he has a lot to share with us. So our agenda for today, we're just going to have the introduction. So everyone, let me know where you're coming from, your name, what you do. let's keep the introduction coming in the comment section. After that, I'm going to share about who we are at Africa Food Change Makers, and also share some exciting opportunities most of you and all of you need to take note of. After that, we'll go straight to the session where our speaker will be sharing key insights around the topic of discussion, and then we'll have question and answer, and then we'll go over to the connecting with AFC. How can you connect with us and maximize this amazing platform? And then closing. Okay. So once again, welcome. Like I said, introduce yourself in the comment box. I want to meet you. We all want to meet you. And here's how you will do it. State your name, state your country, and your agribusiness. What business, your agribusiness you're operating in your country. Let me know in the chat box. I want to see people rep their countries. I can see, if I don't pronounce your name very well, kindly just indulge me. I would just call the second name of Nadik. Nadike is from Mascop Farmer, somewhere in East Cape, South Africa. So thank you. I see you joining from South Ibong Eyo is a managing director at Ayoline Agro Enterprise from Cross River, Nigeria. Yes, I forgot to mention, I am joining you live and direct from Abuja in Nigeria. Okay, so who else is joining? Airline says we are into palm estate development and management. Majid Yusuf Umar is joining from Kaduna in Nigeria. I think Nigeria is repping today. Okay, so keep it coming. And I also want to know, how are you feeling? How is the weather? How is the situation in your country? Let me know with an emoji. So what emoji describes the way you're feeling? Put those emojis in the chat box. I want to just see how you're doing. Let's have some pulse check right away. Tosi is joining from Kaduna, Nigeria. Tosi, a big shout out to you. Ella says Abuja is cloudy and calm. Ella, give me an emoji to represent how you're feeling. Okay. Let's keep it coming. And if you know any agripreneur who needs to be here, because today's topic is really timely. It's Agri-Business Connect and Strategy Adaptation in Africa. So reach out to someone who needs to be here and let them know we have started. Okay, so I see Kabir. Kabir is from Imo. I see Lema. Lema is from Nigeria. Hadiza, Nigeria. Okay, Ella, I love your emoji. It shows you're happy. So let me know with an emoji how you're feeling. All right, let's keep the engagement going in the comment section. And while we are at that, there's a poll for everyone to fill. So it's going to come up on your screen. You're going to see a poll. Once it pops on your screen, I want you to respond. Okay, so the first question is, what region of Africa are you joining? For everyone who is dropping an emoji, I feel you, I love you, I celebrate you. Thank you very much for engaging in the comment section. Shola is joining from Lago. I think that should be Lagos, but let's fill the poll. There's a poll on your screen. It is asking, what region of Africa are you joining from? Are you joining from Central, East, North, Southern, or West Africa, or even outside Africa? Feel that. The next question is, are you a member of AFC Hub? So it's just a yes or no question. Let's quickly do that. And then feel which of the categories applies to you. Everyone sending me an emoji. I love you right back. But let's just fill the poll. We have moved on from the emoji. We are currently at the polls right now. So just go through it. The fourth question is, what are your expectations from attending this first Thursday? I think I am very much interested in these expectations because it has a way of shaping. The speaker is also here. I'm sure he would also want to see what you're expecting. So are you expecting to learn more about AFC? Are you expecting to discover new opportunities for your agribusiness? Are you expecting to gain insights on the topic from the guest speaker or network with other entrepreneurs? Just click. Let me see. The poll has disappeared. Oh, sorry about that. Please, team members, can we bring back the poll? Some persons still want to. And then we'll have the fifth question, which says, which of these best describes your agribusiness? Are you at the ideation stage, startup, growth, and growth? Okay, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to fill that while I move on with the rest of today's session. Once again, welcome. Ayoline, hope you can now see the polls. Okay, so just keep engaging with me. Let me know if you can fill the poll. If you're done with the poll, type done in the comment section. I'm going to say a special shout out to you if you are done with the poll. Just type in the comment section and say done. Aha, I can see you're feeling the poll. Yes, yes. Aha, that's my people. Okay, someone, I can see the poll increasing. I think we have a lot of West Africa here today. Okay, Tosi says, Dawn, a big shout out to Tosi Olufemi. Thank you. All right, please, can we move on to the next slide? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who has filled the poll. So in a nutshell, I'm going to tell you about who we are at Africa Food Changemakers, what we do, and I'm going to also share some exciting opportunities for you. All right, at Africa Food Changemakers, we work with entrepreneurs, and we strongly believe that small and medium-sized enterprises are the lifeblood of the food ecosystem in Africa. And this ecosystem is driven by visionary, dynamic, innovative entrepreneurs who operate in different chains. They either operate as producers, aggregators, processors, distributors, finance and technology providers. They also operate as chef, cook, consultants, and innovators. We call them change makers. So it means that whatever sector of the food chain that you belong to, you are a change maker. And I want to officially welcome you to Africa Food Change Makers, because we are all about empowering change makers like you. Our mission is to enable African entrepreneurs to start and scale resilient and sustainable agri-businesses that feed Africa and the world. And to achieve this, we'll provide training, funding opportunities, exposure, trade linkages, and fostering a vibrant community of change makers. We have a vision of raising 1 million successful and sustainable African agribusinesses that nourish Africa and feed the world. How do we achieve what we do? There are 4 ways we achieve our vision and our mission. That is, first of all, we provide a community, that platform for African agripreneurs to connect, to partner, and learn. We also provide learning and training, just like you are in this first Thursday. It is another opportunity to learn. So we provide a lot of learning and training opportunities. We also provide data and opportunities, and then visibility and recognition. These are some of the ways that help us achieve our mission and our vision. We have exciting opportunities. So like we said, we are always looking for ways to connect that resilient agripreneur to opportunities, because there are opportunities that can transform not just your life, but your businesses. And there are some of them I would share with you shortly. And the thing is, the deadline for these opportunities are closing in so fast. You need to look for ways to hop into those opportunities. And the first one, as you can see on the screen, is ending on the 10th of August. That's like less than 7 days away. It is the Small and Large Grant Program for Advocates of Climate Change Mitigation. And for you to assess these opportunities, you need to head on to our website, afchub.org/funding. We also have capacity building opportunities. One of them is ending on the 13th. That is African Young Women Leaders Fellowship Program Cohort 3. It's open to all countries, so you're not restricted based on your country. We also have the 2024 Women for the Environment Africa for Women in Conservation. It's ending August 15th. So take advantage of this opportunity. We have other opportunities again. We have the Amas Youth Summits. We also have capacity building opportunities. We have events. So take advantage of this. Just go to afchub.org and you would have access to all this. We're going to share the website. Okay, I can see someone asking in the comment section, Lema, I see you. I like someone like you because you're already excited. You want to jump on that opportunity. But I would say to you, stay till the end of this first Thursdays, because we're going to share the links, and we're going to share the links definitely that would help you click directly to register. Okay, so what you can do is just to take note of these opportunities on your notepad, and as we continue, when the link is shared, you can go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity. Another way we empower entrepreneurs is through a learning platform, which we have a podcast. So AFC has several podcast episodes that are specially curated to meet different needs of entrepreneurs. So it's quite enlightening, it's informative. So you can jump on our website to check out our podcast. We have some podcasts like Africa in Chocolate, Okra's Origin, Turf Truth, and a lot more. Okay, thank you. So we are finally at the main meal. So what I just served you have been appetizer, And I want to say welcome to everyone who is joining. We're going to go straight to the main meat of today's issue. Now, today we'll be looking at Agri-Business Connect and strategy adaptation in Africa. And to take us through this session is a phenomenal speaker. I'm going to read out his profile, and the next voice you would hear will be that of our amazing speaker. His name is Mr. Deji Adebusayo. He is Adebusoye. He is a principal at Sahel Capital. He is a food and agriculture. Okay, so Deji is a principal at Sahel Capital, a food and agriculture focused private investment firm in Sub-Saharan Africa. Sahel Capital manages fund for agriculture financing in Nigeria and social enterprise fund for agriculture in Africa. Deji leads investment and portfolio management for SEFAA and manages FAFIN portfolios, one of which was recently exited. He is a director on the board of one of the portfolio companies. Before that, he spent 3 years across a range of senior roles with Syngenta Crop Protection. He played a significant role in the formal opening of Syngenta Nigeria as the Chief Operating Officer. Deji studied chemical engineering at Obafemi Awolowo University, where he graduated with a first-class degree, and he has an MBA from INSEAD Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together in the comment box as we make welcome our speaker, our trainer, our facilitator for today, Mr. Deji Adebusoye. Please put your hands in the comment section. I can see your hand. Thank you so much, Mr. Deji. Welcome. We're excited to have you. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Anne. Good afternoon, everyone. Just to be sure, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
So once again, good afternoon, everyone. I think this is my second time being part of the First Thursdays, and I'm always looking forward to this opportunity because I think there's just something about me also that is very passionate about SMEs. And in fact, interestingly enough, I'm actually currently writing a book, still far from completing it, just targeted towards African SMEs as well. So it's a sector that I'm quite passionate about, and I think over the last couple of years, I've had the opportunity to engage with several SMEs, and I think that has also opened my eyes to a number of factors and a number of items that I think would be beneficial. And I think I'll be sharing some of those thoughts that are, some of them are developing thoughts, and some of them are things that I've seen quite frequently. Let me share my screen. I hope I have seems I can. That's good. Okay. So it's a very simple slide that I prepared just to have something to guide the conversation. But as I go on, if you have any question, drop them in the chat box. I will try as much as possible. We have a very short time, and I think it's always easier to open up the room for questions, but I'll try as much as possible to speak to this topic. I might deviate a bit, just so that I might be able to share some thoughts, with everyone that is here. So the topic that I'm supposed to be discussing with you today is Agri-Business Connect and strategy adaptation in Africa. Anne introduced me, but just also to mention, I work with a firm called Sahel Capital. And we basically, what we do is we look at SMEs across Sub-Saharan Africa, and we look at the ones that have some form of direct or indirect benefit to smallholder farmers, and we provide them with capital as long as they meet certain criteria. So in case you're looking to raise some form of capital, feel free to reach out to me. I put a couple of 4 questions down there. If you believe that your business can answer any of those 4 questions, then please reach out to me. There might be scope for us to engage together. Does your business have a direct or indirect impact on smallholder farmers? Is your business profitable and generates a minimum turnover of $500,000? Does your business have a proper management team to support the MD or the founder? And has your business been in operation for the last 2 years? So I just put that out there. It might be of benefit to some of you that are here in this session. So going on to my first real slide that I want to speak through today, you will all agree with me that the Africa's agribusiness sector is quite challenging. I mean, we're all here together. We've seen what has happened over the last couple of months and probably years. And it just seems as if every external factor that that happens is it has one impact or the other on the sector in Africa. We're seeing across the continent there's increasing political will. For example, we're beginning to see some policies and some directions from leaders of some of the countries in Africa. But even as you're balancing that political will from some to want to move the country forward, we're also seeing other areas where things are not as exciting as we would like them to be. So one of the things you see that is quite challenging also since 2020, that's within the last 3 years, we are seeing an increasing number of coup d'etats that are happening across, the continent, and it's creating some form of unsettlement, and those things don't encourage investors when they want to come into your country, which are all some of the factors that are very important for you as a business. What we're also saying is that despite the fact that based on policies that are being released in the countries by the leadership in different countries, businesses have no control over those policies. However, every single policy would impact you one way or the other, whether the government is banning the importation of a product or another country is making a policy. Very recently, we heard that, India they are banning the export of non-basmati rice. That would have an impact on some countries that are heavily dependent on the importation of non-basmati rice from India, being the largest exporter of rice across the globe. So unfortunately, businesses have no control over these policies, but these policies will always have an impact on your business. The food sector also is despite all these movements, would always remain one of the major beneficiaries of the rising income on the continent, because as income rise, you always see that measure that people, for example, I'll use Nigeria as an example. There's an analysis that says that an average Nigeria spends 80 to 90% of their income on food. And you agree with me that no matter how bad the situation is, the first problem they want to get out of the way is food. Because without food, you cannot survive. So it's good to also mention that as challenging as the environment is, you all are in the right sector because you are creating solutions to problems that people will always have. And, people will always want to pay for, hopefully. So, the food sector remains a very competitive sector to play in. One of the things we've also seen is the Russia-Ukraine war. I mean, we've always been talking about this, but it's still very much a factor as much as even if we don't want to talk about it. That coupled with a lot of other macro-related events on the across different countries is seeing inflation increase rapidly. Whether you're looking at Ghana, whether you're looking at Kenya, whether you're thinking about Nigeria, inflation rates are going up. Maybe countries like Uganda have been able to stabilize a bit. But most of all these countries, inflation is going up, and it's really being pushed up by food inflation, in many of those countries. And when inflation goes up, one of the ways the government reacts to it through their monetary policy is to increase interest rates so that they can stabilize inflation a bit. And so we're also seeing interest rates go up. So, for example, I think in Ghana, the MPR, that's the monetary policy rate, just went up again. I think it's now probably about 30.5%. And so we are seeing those rising interest rates. It doesn't all go well for small businesses because it makes it more difficult for you even if you want to access capital, from the banks. It makes it quite challenging. So all those external factors are really, really impacting the business. Population growth is not slowing down. It's a double-edged sword. Whichever way you look at it, if you're catering for your population that is growing, that's a good thing. If you're not, then you're just creating a time bomb, for yourself. But whichever way it goes, the new population growth is always creating new demand for food. And like I mentioned earlier, that the food sector will always remain competitive. As the population is growing, demand for food is going up, then the need to bridge that gap and meet that need will always be there. There's rapid urbanization, people's diets are changing, people are beginning to get more health conscious. And as a result, people are paying more attention to what they are eating. So you're also seeing a lot of innovation, a lot of sophistication in the way people are consuming food. And as a result, it's also creating innovation in the sector for many people who would want to play in the sector. From a technical innovation point of view, Africa is catching up. Anyway, we've always been used to leaping over many other technologies. So Africa is catching up. Unfortunately, infrastructure still remains a challenge. So even as much as we want to build out technology, the infrastructure that exists on the continent is really not helpful in many countries, which is always what technology usually drives on. Then, of course, the one factor that we all battle with, which is climate change. So from floods in Nigeria to droughts in East Africa, to soil degradation in Central Africa or not, some of the Maghreb countries, it's really a major challenge facing the sector. So the summary I put there is that overall, the African agribusiness sector faces numerous challenges. However, it also presents, several opportunities, numerous opportunities for businesses that can adapt to these challenges. I call it a VUCA world. Many of us are used to that word: volatile, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and agility, an agile world. So the world is continuously changing. But one of the things that will remain consistent and constant is the demand for food. So I will say it again, you are in a good sector. It's just now thinking, how can you adapt your strategy? How can you adapt your own way of working? I think a lot of times, a lot of entrepreneurs are thinking very grandiose things, very interesting things, but there are basic things. And this is me speaking from the experience of working across, I would say, hundreds of SMEs that I've met, that I've reviewed. I have reviewed their financials, I reviewed their operations, and there are certain things that keeps coming in together that if these companies can just take care of these things, while you cannot control all the external factors, there are a few things you can do that makes you prepared, that makes you flexible, and makes you agile enough to adapt to the different changing factors that are happening around you and are happening around the world around you. So for me, I looked at it that this is mid-year. This is a bit past mid-year now. It's been a tough time for everyone, in the sector. But the question that I'm asking you as an entrepreneur that is, in this meeting is, how has your business performed? And I want you to dissect that from 4 different perspectives. It's something you can go back home and ask yourself these questions just to understand. Don't just assume that because you sold yesterday, everything is fine. Or because all the products you produced, 2 days ago, you finished selling everything. That is a beautiful thing. But the question is, how has your business, how has your company, don't let me call it business. Business makes it look like just one side also. And that's where I want people to begin to transition away from that concept of I'm just doing business. No, you're running a company. That is what you're doing. And you need to begin to see yourself as that, so that you begin to manage and properly handle your company as a company. If you want it to scale and grow, and you want it to weather through all these different uncertainties that is happening, in the markets around you. So in terms of the 4 different dimensions, I want to pivot that. One is financial performance. That is what all of us usually focus on. Did you meet your revenue projection? Are you on track with the expenses that you've projected, or you just spend as you will? And does your business have cash, or you are gradually running out of cash? How many months, of positive cash do you still have? Do you know what that answer is? If you don't, then you should be worried, because it means that the business can all of a sudden just pack up tomorrow and you wouldn't know what eats you. So from that's from a financial performance point of view, you should be asking yourself those questions. From a people point of view, are people just leaving your company and you don't know why? There's high staff attrition. People are going, you struggle to hire new people. People just keep coming and they keep going. Is there cohesion amongst your team? Or are you one of the people that do divide to rule? Or I can't remember exactly what they call it, but you try to create division in the team so that you can have control over the lot, which of course always has more impact on other parts of the business than you would imagine. So is your team together? Do they work together as a cohesive unit, or they work, everybody facing their own and minding their business? Are there gaps in your team that you think should be urgently filled? Have you been able to identify needs? So you look at yourself as a company, and that's why I say stop thinking yourself as a business, which a lot of people do. It's just that terminology, right? But don't just think I'm a business. You are a company. You run a company, and you're running that company. Do you have the capabilities you need on your team? It's one thing to have the capabilities. It's another thing to know you need them, but you have not yet filled them. What worries me is when you don't even know you need those capabilities. It's another thing to know that I think I'm short-staffed in a finance person or in a supply chain person. I don't have enough resources to get somebody on board today, but I know the gap is there. Then, we are beginning to get somewhere. But when you don't even know what is missing in the business, then there is a problem, because you don't really know what you're fighting towards. Then even on your team, who should be rewarded? How do you think about rewarding your team, the members on your team? Or do you just use there's a carrot and stick approach? Do you constantly use a stick approach, always threatening them? If you don't perform, I'll fire you, I'll sack you, I'll fire, I'll sack you, which is a very popular Nigerian way or African way of motivating your team, threatening to fire all the time, but it doesn't always work, right? And eventually it's just a question of time. Everybody that is looking at you saying that if you get the chance to open their laptop, they're already looking for a job somewhere else. So who should be rewarded, and how should you reward members of your team? That's from a people angle. From a governance compliance, which is the biggest, if I put these things in colors in terms of how people pay attention to the different buckets, the financial performance will be green not because people are doing well, but to some extent they think about it. At least you want to know how much you made, how much cash you have in the bank. People think about it. People you see every day, they're the ones, somebody has to be selling your product, somebody has to be producing. So people still think about people. Strategy, whether not formalized or not, people are thinking about it. But you see, governance and compliance is, in my years of investing in the SME sector, it has been the biggest singular reason why we've not moved ahead with investments with many companies. And I'm saying this very, very, very carefully, because I need everyone on this call to pay attention to it. It's probably boring, it's difficult, it makes your life a bit more difficult, but it is the one singular reason, the most popular singular reason that we decline to invest in a lot of businesses, because they are just not compliant. Governance is significantly missing in those companies. And what do I mean by that? How are decisions made, in your company? Are there guiding policies, processes, and systems that guides decision making? I will give you an example. If I come to your company tomorrow and I ask, sorry, just by the way, Anne, if I'm running against time, please let me know. At least let me know when I have like 5 more minutes, so that I know I'm managing time properly.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you. So how compliant as your business, I was saying that how our processes and systems driving decision making in your business. And I said I was going to give an example. So if I come to your office today, or if you fall ill tomorrow, God forbid that you fall ill and you're out of the business for 2 months, will that business survive or not? If your answer is no, then you know where you stand. If your answer is, I think we will try and we might survive, then I think we are getting somewhere. And at the minimum, that is where I want you to be able to say that if I'm away from this business for 2-3 months, it might not go as well as I want it to, but I think we will survive. One other thing is what guides decision making. If somebody else has to make a decision to buy raw material today in your office or your company, will they make the decision similar to how you make it? Not because they are thinking like you, but because there is a set a guided rule or process that is laid down that they can always refer to, that guides them to make those decisions. Or do you just make decisions as it comes? For example, when you're deciding on what to buy, you just decide on, okay, let's decide on the supplier. Well, I like this supplier, I like the look of his face, so I'm going with him. It doesn't follow any process, it doesn't follow any guideline, it doesn't follow any thorough vetting process that is foolproof. Then you are creating a system that cannot scale. Who is the management accountable to? If you are the founder of the business, who are you accountable to? If you're accountable to no one, I'll be afraid to give you money. And if you cannot receive finance, honestly, it's difficult to scale, because here we're talking about Agri-Business Connect. How can you scale? How can you expand across the continent? To do that, you need financing. But apart from the fact that these systems will help scale, you cannot even get the right financing, because if you are accountable to no one except yourself, then I'm sorry, I can't trust you. Not because you are not trustworthy, but because you are human. And at the end of the day, you always can come to your hands with at times, and you make irrational decisions. There needs to be some people that are providing guidance to you in terms of that, whether it's a board of advisors or a board of directors that you treat as a board, not just, Deji, I said we must have one. Let me go and call my grandfather, my grandmother, and my grand aunts and put them on the board, and everyone is fine. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that people that are truly you're truly accountable to. Then how compliant is your business? Do you pay your taxes? The regulatory standards you need to meet, are you meeting them? Are you remitting pensions that you deduct from your staff? These things are boring. They are probably the most boring part of the business, but they are the one part also that will probably hold you back from being able to make progress as much as you should. Then the final point is your strategy. Your existing business model, will you support growth in the next 1 to 2 years? Maybe some of you have not even thought that yet. That what you're doing today will you still be around in another 1 to 2 years if you keep doing things that way? How are the different business, I talked about a lot of things in the earlier slide, a lot of external factors. How are they impacting your business? What adjustments must the business, your company make to be able to adapt to those things? Now, in jest, I put it there that I'm assuming that you measured, or you're measuring all these things and you can answer these questions. But the only reason why you can answer these questions that I've raised is because even at the start of the year, you set some goals, right? You set goals on what revenue you want to make, how many people, how do you want to retain staff, how do you want to be compliant in your business? You set goals at the start of the year, like we all do set goals. The question for me is, did you even set any goal at the start of the year? Or you just dabbled into the year and just say, look, we will freestyle and we'll see how things will work out and how things will pan out for us. So what I did then is to just come up with one-liners, and I will talk through them very quickly, but they are very, very important points that I want you all, if anything at all, that slide is probably the most important slide. Things you should pay attention to in your business. And these factors, as you begin to solve, pay attention to them one after the other, you begin to see changes in your business. You even begin to see changes with the way you think about the company. You begin to see opportunities. You begin to see it as a company and not as a business. And those are some of the mindsets that will help you to begin to scale and grow your business, first in the country, then of course beyond the country, and begin to expand and scale it out of the continent. So these are just a few points, and I'll just talk through them very quickly. Number one, you need to understand your market and you need to embrace competition. Many of us assume that we understand our market, but we do not. We are just doing a business. We wake up every day, we go back to sleep. We make money, we don't make money, but we really don't understand the market. We really don't understand competition. I'll give an example of one of the companies we had in our portfolio company called, we might know the company. I wouldn't mention the name, but some of you might know the company. At the time, they were struggling, to be able to sell their products. They were selling yogurts. They were really struggling to be able to sell yogurts. And the simple assumption they made was because the quality of their yogurt was good and was made from fresh milk, that people should love the yogurt. Unfortunately, the way people were thinking and deciding on the yogurt to buy was completely different. People were buying yogurt with their eyes before their mouth. In other words, you look good on the shelf, then we will buy you. And that's how people were making decisions. So until they started saying that, look, let's get off our high horses and let us really understand what the customers are looking for. They began to understand these dynamics and they had to make some adjustments, maybe not even complete 360, but they made adjustments that help the business. You need to understand the market you play in fully. If anybody asks you any question, understand who the suppliers are, who are the key customers, who are you competing with. Competition is good, right? If you treat it as what it should be, it is good. So who are you competing with? What do they do that is better than you? What can you learn from them? And that brings me to the second point. Bring the outside in. Prioritize learning for your business. There's an interesting story about Sam Walton. Sam Walton, before he died, was the richest man in the world. He was the founder of Walmart. And, people said he was very fond of, as a CEO of Walmart, he would spend about 80% of his time outside in the market with customers, in the retail shops, trying to understand how the business is doing. He spent 20% in the office, on the chair of the CEO office, but it was usually out. In fact, there was a funny story they said one time about him, that he went to Brazil to visit his friends. And then he just told them that he was coming, he wanted to take a stroll. And the next thing was he got a call from, the friends got a call from the police station that they had arrested him. By the time they got to the police station, why did they arrest Sam Walton? They said he went into a retail store and they found him on the floor of the retail store with a measuring tape, measuring distance between aisles, trying to understand the distance and length of their shelves, and they had to arrest him and take him to the police station. That was how passionate he was about learning what other people outside are doing. If I ask you today, beyond your business that you run today, do you even understand? Do you know what any other person does in the same market that you are in? Your competition that you're always angry about, why are they better than you? What are they doing that you are not doing? You know, we need to pay more attention to what the competition is doing, bringing the outside in, prioritize learning. Where can you learn more, you know, about your business, about how to run the business, about the industry, about the market? You need to do that. Build partnerships across the region. You know, the topic of today speaks to that. And that's more or less about extending yourself beyond just, you know, in your own office. Who are the people that are within your industry? Build partnerships with them if there's the possibility to do that. Invest for growth. When I say invest for growth, I say that very, very carefully, because a lot of people don't understand, and you'll be surprised that people don't understand this. If you do, I'm happy for you. But I take a class at Joseph Business School on financing for small business for SMEs, and I was surprised also to find out that a lot of SME and entrepreneurs don't know the difference between their revenue and their profits. So once they sell and they make some income, for them, they just assume that that is revenue. And, you know, that is what it is. But unfortunately, revenue is not profit. So the first step of even reinvesting for growth is understanding the difference between your revenue and your profit. I mean, I can't do all that. I can't share all that today, but it's something you need to pay attention to. If you have to invest to learn, you need to learn what is that difference. How do I make sure that I'm living a profitable business? Then, based on the profits you make, please reinvest that money for growth. You are in this business not because you want to, yes, you want to live a decent and a good life, but your business should not be put at the mercy of your own spending pattern. Because you want to pepper them, you want to show people that you have arrived, you now begin to spend lavishly from your company. No, if you want your company to last longer than you have to reinvest for growth. At some point, yes, you know, you begin to live that life you want to live. But in these early stages, you must pay attention to how you are reinvesting every profit, at least as much as possible, into the growth of that business. Get to cash quickly. As much as you can, get to cash quickly. I cannot overemphasize that. One of the examples I used to give was given by a man called Vusi Tembakwayo. Many of us might know the young entrepreneur in South Africa, and he gave an example, and I'll color it in my own way. And he gave an example of two poultry businesses that want to raise capital. One of them, you know, one poultry business has set up very fancy equipment, you know, almost an automated broiler processing company. So he's coming to raise capital to say, okay, now I've set up this facility. I need money to stock up birds so that I can start selling and make money. That's one entrepreneur. The second entrepreneur has not set up anything. He doesn't even have any, what's it called, any operations, any equipment on ground. However, what he has done is that he has gone to companies that were producing eggs. He will collect the eggs from them. He will go and sell. And he has been doing that, buying, selling. Cash has been flowing through the company. Then he comes to raise money and says, I want to raise money now. I know how to sell the eggs. I've made some money from it, but I now want to set up my own egg production unit. To be fair, and I think I would like people to drop in the chat box, who do you think you would give money to? The first person who has the best broiler processing facility in the world, or the second person who has only been able to sell some eggs? He doesn't have anything, but now he wants to raise cash to to reinvest, to produce and, you know, backwards integrate. If I see some of the answers coming in, second person, yes. So exactly, the person that is already selling. And it's a no-brainer, right? Because of cash. Cash at the end of the day is king. Get to cash as quickly as you can. I will give you a very quick example again about I have 2 minutes more. That was how many minutes ago? Okay, I'll start rounding up now. I didn't say that. It's a good thing I opened the chat box. Okay, so let me give another example. Let me just go quickly and just run through the slide. Focus on performance and reward performance as much as possible in your team. Make sure that you're aware of who is performing, and make sure you reward them and they know that, you know, you recognize the fact that they are performing. And for you to focus on performance, you have to measure performance. Don't just leave it to chance, measure it. So the way you're setting business goals at the start of the year, let your team also have goals at the start of the year, including yourself. You should have goals at the beginning of the year. Stay with your business. Nigerians are not used to staying with their business. Africans generally, we are not used to staying with our business. You know, once you set up a business, you are everywhere but present with your business. We should stay with our business, be present. Let people know that you are the first to resume, you are the last to close. All right. Be there, be present with your business is extremely important. Pay yourself a salary. I can't, this is something I can spend a whole day to talk about. You know, in terms of paying yourself a salary. But I wouldn't dwell too much on it now. But have a contract, an employment contract that you yourself have, and define in it how much you should be paid as a salary, and stick with that. Pay yourself a salary. Don't just look in the company's, you know, account and say, okay, how much do we have there today? Take money from it and use for your personal spend. No, that's one of the first ways in which you begin to draw your company down. And I can tell you how that plays across board, you know, on everybody who, you know, everybody who comes to that place. Establish a board. I talked about governance and compliance somewhere. Establish a board as quickly as you can. It might not be board of directors, you might have advisors, it might even be friends and families that you put, people that you can be accountable to. You know, it gives confidence to people who are looking at your business from outside. A rule of thumb that I usually give is that for you to establish a board, you need at least 3 people apart from yourself. You need somebody who understands your business. You need somebody who, you need somebody who understands finance and accounting, and you need somebody who understands who understands legal stuff. Sometimes you might have those things combined together in one person, but if you have that, I think you're good to go. Then, of course, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the compliance. As much as you can. You might be far from there, and I'm not saying you can bridge that gap today, but start making efforts to begin to close those compliance gaps. Be making the effort. It might not look like, you might be asking yourself, why am I doing this? It's taking my time. It's costing money because it's not cheap as well. But just stay at it and be compliant. A few years down the line, you'll be grateful that you were when you decided to be compliant. So I will pause there, and I'm not sure how we want to do this. Do you want me to just go and start taking questions from the chat box, or how would you want us to do it?
Okay, I think you can go ahead and take questions, but
okay.
So everyone, okay, I would just can we appreciate Mr. Deji for that insightful session? Thank you so much, Mr. Deji. So right now it's time for questions. If you have a question for Mr. Deji, I can see some questions already drop in while he was speaking. You could raise your hand. Okay, if you want to speak, I want to see your hand up, and then the moderator, the host was just unmute you and you ask your question. I can see Olaide's hand up. Olaide, before we go to you, thank you for everyone. So also for those in the comment section, I like the thank yous that are coming in. Also let me know what's that thing that stood out for you, not just me. I'm sure Mr. Deji would also want to see that. It shows that you learned something. So let us know what is that one thing that stood out for you out of the so many things, the many things he talked about. Let us know what stood out for you. So someone asked a question. There's someone asking, can we be provided the slide? I don't think that's for Mr. Deji, but I'm sure the membership team would see how to work that out as long as you registered for this program. And Utibe asked, how do you know how much to pay yourself? I think we're going to take that first question before we move on to those who want to unmute to ask their question.
Yes.
And another person is also asking, what is VUCA? Maybe you could merge them together.
Okay, so the question on how much to pay yourself is a very good one. And always remember that how much you pay yourself is always a proxy of your business. And what I mean by that is, if, for example, your business is earning a particular amount, you can't pay yourself more than the business can afford. Think about it this way. If that business at what it is earning, you have to hire an MD, external MD. How much will you pay that person? Now, you are an MD, and for whatever reason, you want to be able to pay yourself, but the company cannot afford to pay you. There are ways in which you can manage it. First of all, look at what is reasonable that the company can pay you. A good example, let's assume the company is making is making 5 million naira. I'm just using an example, 10 million naira on a monthly basis. And by the time you look at all your costs and expenses, you decide that, look, out of this 10 million, what the company can really pay me that it can afford today is out of that 10 million is 200,000 naira. Now that's a good place to start from. The second question you now need to ask yourself is that if somebody else hires you as the MD of their company, and you have to be realistic about this. Don't overinflate your worth or your price. How much will they pay you? If you realize that they would have been paying you like 500,000, or maybe the job you just left, you were earning 500,000 to start that business, but your business can realistically only pay you 150 or 200,000. What you should do is on the books, and this is an accounting treatment. What you would do on the books of your company is let the company be paying you on the books. Is paying you 500,000. But what you are taking out as cash is that 200,000, and the remaining 300,000 you are more or less adding it as your stock option. If there's a way you can treat it that it goes and builds into your stock option in the company, so that tomorrow, when either the company can afford to pay, then you can use that treatment to repay yourself, from the company. Or if you get new investors that want to come into your business, there is a way for you to monetize that amount that you've not been able to pay yourself. But the important thing to mention is your company can afford to pay a certain amount. You can argue and say, but I have a rent to pay. I have, my children have to eat. The question is, can the company afford to put that thing? If the company cannot afford to put it, but you're forcing it to, the company will die. So you have to be reasonable to say that what can the company realistically pay? What are you worth? Let the company pay what it can realistically pay. I'm going to say something now that might sound very brutal, but it's a reality. Try and force your lifestyle to fit within what the company can pay, because that is the reality right now. The only way you can work outside that is if you have other hustles that can generate income for you. But try and force your lifestyle to fit within what the company can afford. I think that's usually the most difficult thing to do. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Deji. There's another question. What's the full meaning of VUCA?
So that's a VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity.
Okay, so host, please, can we unmute Olaide so he asks his question? Mr. Deji, would you prefer to take all the questions and then you give answers at once or one at a time?
Let me take all the questions. I'll just take notes of them.
Okay, so Olaide, you go first, and then Utibe is second. So everyone who is giving their feedback in the comment section, thank you very much. I see them. If you attended the session, also let us know what stood out for you in the comment section. I'm still going to go back to read them out, but keep them coming. Olaide, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Deji. Am I audible?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I think my question would be, I run the manufacturing business. Now, but the challenge I'm having is that, excuse me, I have a low battery. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, sorry, I have a low battery. I have to quickly switch on light. So the challenge I'm having is that presently, because of the demand in terms of the running costs of the company cannot pay me. So what I do is to keep record of the expenses and how I get money. I don't have any loan presently, but I get support from family and friends, and keep on going. So at the point, so the question in short is, in an instance that the company cannot even afford to pay me, but need funding before all the necessary things are done. In that context, should I say, okay, if it is a 30K or 50K, the company can pay me, then I'll keep on to document that. Meanwhile, so what is your view? Then second, in terms of compliance, every other thing is in order, except that I could not pay tax because I'm not withdrawing salary. Now, so I will also need you to advise beyond an annual return to CAC. We have a team, but since we could not pay, so the founders are working for free at the company. So in terms of compliance,
Mr.
What do you think?
Olaide, please, can you just round off? So we have other questions.
All right.
Coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. Utibe, please go on. waiting for Utibe to be unmuted, Bushra asked a question. She said, how can we, give me a second. She said, how can we assess capital, just as you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation? How can we assess capital, just as you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation? And what other question? Okay, Utibe, you can go ahead and ask. So we'll take the 3 questions at once.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Deji. In fact, let me start with what stood out for me. You talked about reinvesting for growth. You know, sometimes we just think that once you start a business, you just keep going, but there's a need to reinvest. You know, you have to attend trainings, you have to do a lot to actually grow, you know, expand your branding, you know, just do a lot just to grow, right? And that costs money also. So for me, that's what stood out for me, because that's one thing I've actually been doing. So the question is on the governance and compliance. It's like you said, that has always been the problem with small businesses in Nigeria at the moment. You know, government policies changes, which affects, you know, small businesses. You know, today you're telling me that my taxes, I'm paying annual returns for this period of time. Tomorrow you're saying it's increasing, you know. Because of that, it's hard to actually plan with that. You know, there are different taxes that come up every day, depending on your location. You know, in a particular state, you have a multiplication of taxes that maybe you're paying refuse tax, you're paying, you know, different taxes that are duplicated. You know, it affects the small businesses. So how do we go about it? Because these are things we want to do. We don't want to pay taxes, or we don't want to do the right things, but, you know, they make it very difficult for people to do, and they run away from doing it. At the end of the day, it affects the small businesses. So how do we handle that?
Yeah. I think I'll just run through those questions very quickly. Thank you very much, everyone. So the first question, managing businesses, and you know, you have been documenting what the company cannot pay. I would say just keep doing that. What I've also seen many people do is you have a side hustle. You're running your business, but for example, can you be doing some little consulting on the side that can help to be at least providing income for you, so that at least you would be able to earn something. Most people that have started businesses that are growing, I have numerous examples of those. That is what they've always done. While they are growing their business, they're also doing some maybe side hustle consulting for other people, providing services here and there. Not enough to distract them from their main business, but sufficient enough to at least generate some income. But I think you're really doing the right thing. Keep documenting those expenses, and then get advice on the right way to treat it from an accounting point of view, so that you can get that repayment later on. In terms of compliance, you say you cannot pay yourself. So if you're not earning salary, you're not paying yourself a salary today. Of course, that means that personal income tax, yes, is what probably would not be. But I think from a regulatory point of view, even for pension, there might be a minimum amount that might need to pay as a pension. So it might be good to cross-check this and double-check with a tax expert. But I think there might be pension requirements that you might still need to remit. Then if you say you are documenting the expenses, depending on how you are treating it, if you treat it as salary paid, but you just don't get the cash, maybe you are putting it as a shareholder loan in the business, then of course there'll be things that will show that that salary was paid. So there might be a need, you know, to still pay personal income tax on it. But it's always good to get tax experts to help with that. Somebody has a question around accessing capital, like we mentioned. So like I said, you can also get our contact or my contact from the organizers. If you feel like you met any of those requirements that I shared earlier, feel free to reach out to me. Then I'll be able to engage you a bit more to understand what the needs are, and and I think we can take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, just 2 more. Somebody said $500,000 is too high. Yes, I agree with you, and I think there's a lot more we are trying to do to see how we can provide lower capital. But it's always because of the provider of the capital, the people that give us the money to manage. So that's been a requirement from them. Then to the last question on duplication of taxes is one of the biggest bane of SMEs in Nigeria today. One of the good things, at least, that has happened in the last couple of weeks is that the president has signed some executive orders. Hopefully, one of the things that should do is to eliminate tax duplications. But what I would say is that the most important tax elements for you to keep in mind your CIT, your company income tax, your withholding taxes, if you have to pay those, your VAT, and then of course pay attention to pension remissions, and then things like, I think there's education tax, and there's one other one, I think is IITF. Once you pay attention to those key ones, those are the most important ones that anybody that is looking at you from a governance perspective will look at. All those other, if you buy baskets, nobody's paying attention to all those ones. So to the extent that you can manage those people, so that it doesn't affect your business, yes, of course, by all means. But those key ones, I think those are the ones that you should pay attention to. Thank you very much.
Okay, so can we quickly, thank you so much, Mr. Deji, for providing insight to this question. Ella, your hand has been up. We're just going to take Ella's question and then we'll move on. Please, hosts, kindly.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes,
please.
yes,
Yes.
Okay, Deji, thank you very much. I was actually the one that asked the question about $500,000. But the thing is that what might take away from here, what you said I have not been doing, is I am on salary, but I did not give myself an appointment letter. Every other staff has appointment letter, which I got from you, and I'm going to implement that by tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I'm happy to hear that at least you're going to do something actionable right from this.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Ella, for that. Thank you, Mr. Deji. Apologies. I think that's how much we can take on our questions. And thank you so much, Mr. Deji, for your time. If you have more questions, please do want to either send. We're going to see the membership team would copy out this question. There's a question. Okay, let's just take, this is just the only question remaining. She said, in my startup, my only current source of fund is my salary. While I get a particular percentage from my customers, it's difficult controlling my personal finance and the company's finance. How do I go about managing both and get the company's accounts audited? So in 30 seconds,
yeah, my 30 seconds starts now. The first and the most difficult response is that what has happened is that your lifestyle probably is already expanded beyond what the company can afford. And I mean, it's the honest truth. Yes, you might say that, but my lifestyle is not a lot. But then the question is, the company is also a particular size. So you can't overbeat the company to do much more. So the goal for you then should be, how can I, if you can't manage that lifestyle, the question will be, what do I need to do to grow this business so that at the minimum it can begin to cater to my current lifestyle, or at least I can pay myself enough salary to cover the current lifestyle, that I've built. So that is what I would say. One thing has to give is either you scale down on the lifestyle so that you can merge it, or you ask yourself, how can I grow the business? And of course, it's also important if you can get external advice on somebody else to look at your business and give you trick and say, okay, this is 1, 2, 3 things you can do that you can use to unlock additional growth or opportunity for the business. I think that would be very helpful as well. But I like that you also talked about audited accounts. I missed that. Very important to have those done.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Deji. I am sure everyone, there's been a lot of insights you've gotten from this session. Just like Ella mentioned, I like the fact that Ella had something actionable she's going to start doing. And she said tomorrow. That means she put a deadline. So I want everyone in the comment section, let me know, what is that one thing you're committing to start doing right from today or tomorrow? Let us know in the comment section. Say, okay, I'm starting this tomorrow, or next week I'm going to do this, or before the month end, I am going to do this. But once again, thank you so much, Mr. Deji, for your time. This has been surely insightful and also a productive time. A lot of nuggets, a lot of things people have learned, and I'm sure we are going to take action. Thank you, Tosi. Thank you, everyone. Let me know what action you're going to take. So right about now, it is not yet time to go because we have so much more in store for you. Okay, I'm gonna invite next our programs coordinator at Africa Food Changemakers. He'll be sharing with you more about what we do, because First Thursday is just an aspect of what we do at Africa Food Changemakers. A lot of you said you want to know more about what we do. So the next voice you would hear is going to give you more insights about what we do. So put your hands in the comment section as Mr. Oduayo Motosho takes over at the virtual stage. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much once again. And please, can you confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Deji, for such a wonderful session. I think for my own takeaway, I will start paying myself, right? Even though I'm being paid, but I'll start paying myself too for every of my efforts. So thank you very much for that session once again. So talking about our programs at AFC 2023, like mentioned by Han, one of our core practices or what we do at AFC is program implementation. And the first program that we implemented this year, based on this presentation, we have the first one, which is BRACE. And BRACE is a building resilience against climate and environmental shocks. I'm sure some of our members currently on BRACE. Program is actually an agri-business program that is aimed to develop agri-SMEs to be able to be aware about climate change and how their business is positioned to adopt some of these climate smart practices. It's an e-learning program which will be taken for 3 months. We've currently onboarded over 1,000 participants across African countries that are currently taking these courses. And then from experiences from live interactions, these participants have really been blessed and really gotten several insights on how to start and scale their resilience agribusinesses. And good news for you concerning this program is if you have missed out this year, be aware that there will also be some other applications coming early next year. So please watch out for this particular program, BRACE, and do well to apply next year. Our second program is LAF, which you call Scaling Export Program. And this program is seek to engage annual cohorts of agri-food SMEs to be able to build their capacity and develop nutrition food for exporting. So if you have local products, innovative product that is you're currently selling locally, and you want to create demand and go international and sell this product international markets, please do well to apply for this program. This program is currently open for application. The application will be closing in 2 days' time. So please, if you've not applied, do well to apply. One of my colleagues will be dropping the link right about now for you to apply. Please, and a very action point or takeaway from this program is we're hoping to sponsor our participants to the International Inter-African Trade Fair coming up later this year in Egypt for those that are the top participants. So please do well to register and then follow through all of the program activities. The third program is the Leading African Women. And this program aims to also amplify the works of African women, leading women in Africa, to be able to celebrate them and also bring about visibility to them in whatever they are doing, the agri-food ecosystem generally. We received over 600 applications and we've been able to select 27 of these women that we are currently celebrating and amplifying their work. They've been trained through several trainings, mentoring sessions, and peer-to-peer learnings. And the highlight of this program also be that these participants would also be taken to AGRF later this year in Tanzania for their program and for their closing ceremony. This program is also an annual program, and next year also there will also be an application for these particular fellows next year. So if you know any woman doing great and excellent work in the agri-food ecosystem, please do well to share with them once the application is out. And last on our activities is around changing narratives. And this is the core of what we currently do in AFC that we keep on doing about changing the narrative about the African contribution to the general global ecosystem itself. So we do activities around documentary, recently produced a jollof rice documentary. If you have not seen it before, please do drop the link, go ahead to also watch it. It's just to showcase the activities and work of some of these value chain players involved in the production process of jollof rice. And we also released podcasts all about changing the narrative of the African food ecosystem to the whole world. So thank you very much. I pass over the mic to Nusa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Odun, for that. Okay, so I can see a lot of persons. Ella is asking a question that she's trying to join and all that. I'm sure the next person who's coming up is going to provide more insight into that. So you've heard about what we do, you've heard about who we are, and you've heard about the different opportunities we have to offer. But the most interesting thing we're going to be sharing with you today is how do you maximize all this? And to take us through that session is the membership officer, Nosa Obaino. He'll be coming up to tell you how you can join Africa Food Changemakers and become a member. So stay tuned, Nosa, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Han. Thank you, Odwayo, and thank you, Mr. Deji, for the insightful presentation. And thank you all for joining this call. It's a pleasure to always connect with our entrepreneurs. And I believe majority of us on this call are potential members for African Food Changemakers. My name is Nosa Obano, and I'll be taking us through how we can become members of African Food Changemakers community and also benefit from opportunities shared within our membership platform. As you can see, we can confirm that you can see the screen showing. There's a link underneath the slide that we once you click on that link, or once you type that link on your mobile phone or devices, it will take you directly to our membership page on the website where you can, apologies for the background noise. Apologies for the background noise, it's a bit noisy where I am. So as I was saying, the link underneath the slide will take you directly to our membership platform where you can get access to, where you can fill the form. Our membership platform is open to entrepreneurs within African countries. It's open to all entrepreneurs changing the narrative or working in the agri-food system in Africa. And just 3 criteria necessary for you to join the membership platform. And a good thing about our membership platform is that it is totally free, no cost attached to being a member of our community, and it's open to entrepreneurs in Africa who have been in the agri-food system for a period of at least 6 months. And a key criteria we also look out for is the social media presence. It's not mandatory for you to have a social media presence, but it's just necessary as it's one of the requirements from our funders or potential investors that are looking to invest in our entrepreneurs' business or activities. So one thing we look out for is the key activities of these entrepreneurs, what we are showing, and as an organization, what thing we are key on showing our entrepreneurs is that we spotlight our entrepreneurs. And I'm sure my host, even if she did not say a little bit about it, I'll also dwell into that. We have what we call the Instagram live showcase, where we showcase our members' work and activities in the food system. This is a way of spotlighting the activities of our members, what they've done in the food system, and how their entrepreneurship journeys have been. So it's necessary you have the social media presence where we can tell more about activities in the food ecosystem. Some of the benefits of being a member is access and linkages to markets, and also export linkages, like talking from the scaling export program, which we're about to launch. It is focused on scaling our entrepreneurs into being export ready and looking into the international market for their products. We also prepare your business to enter the new and African and global markets. We also offer referrals to funding, speaking, and exhibition opportunities, access to vibrant community members from across the world. We cannot always stop talking about the emphasis of having a connection of entrepreneurs, a network of entrepreneurs. Once you are a member and you have access to join our membership groups, we have Telegram groups, we have the LinkedIn and the Facebook and the WhatsApp group where you connect with several entrepreneurs. Even upon signing up as a member, you are taken directly to your dashboard, the membership dashboard, where you also connect with other entrepreneurs. You connect other entrepreneurs to get access to live activities that entrepreneurs are doing. If you are a seller, if you are a buyer, if you are a producer, you can connect to a supplier, you can connect to a middleman, you can connect to all in the agribusiness food space. And also we offer global market linkages. We enhance the visibility and promote media engagement of selected agribusinesses, and we access exclusive networking events. We also have a hub where you can get access to resources, including data funding opportunities. We have capacity building opportunities. We have a list of created events for you. And also we have trainings and workshops where you can attend and get access to learnings from the agri-food system. So I will indulge that you drop your comment on the chat if you have been able to successfully click on the link to check if the membership hub is open for you to register and fill the questions that are asking you. I think if once you click that page, the first question you see is just a referral of what I've said. How long you've been in the agri-business, if you have a social media presence. If you have passed through that stage, then if you're on this call and you passed through that stage, then you're way ahead of others. And the next questions are your personal questions, personal information, maybe your name, your country, where your agri-business is located, your email will also access you and reach you in terms of opportunities we want to refer to you and share with you. Then after that is the company information, where you provide your company website, your company details, what stage of the company are you in, your business certificates, and so on. Then those are just the criteria for you to become our members in the membership platform. And I believe let's take that bold step to become our members, and we always reach out to membership. Once you sign up, less than 24 hours, you get a verification email to confirm your registration. Over to you, Anne. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Nosa, for sharing that insight. And I believe this is like the this is the crux of the whole matter. It's so important because being a member gives you access to more opportunities, more of our programs. Just like we announced, we have the Scaling Export program, which is currently receiving application, and application ends in 2 days. So if you're producing food, if you're in the food chain and you want to export your products across Africa, Europe, and all over the world, I feel that program is really necessary. So go ahead and register. The link is in the comment section. And then if you have signed up to be our member, can you type done in the comment section? Apart from Ella, who I can see is having some issues, and I'm sure that our membership officers are working hard to see how to modify that. If you have your registration, your sign up, type done in the comment section, because at the beginning of this session, I discovered about 60% of the persons here are not yet members of AFC from the poll that was dropped. So 60%, that's quite a lot. So if you have successfully completed your registration, Olaide, thank you so much. Olaide, congratulations. Welcome to African Food Changemakers. I can see Chi Wakama. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome. Well done. Yakubu. Whoa. All right. Congratulations to everyone who has successfully signed up. If you're yet to complete your registration, please don't give up. Keep trying, because we have a lot in store for you. Okay, so right about now, we are currently coming to the end of this session, and the final pilot who will take us to the final destination, telling us about the next step and closing today's session. Please, let's welcome Cassandra Taiwo, Communications Officer, Africa Food Changemakers. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for that, Anne. Thank you to everyone who has sorry about that. Can you all hear me? Okay, so thank you to everyone who has joined from the very beginning. Now, I would just like us to quickly turn on our video so we could take a quick picture. And do not forget to follow us across our social media platforms. Trust me, we upload daily information that could be of great benefit to you. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And also don't forget to apply for the Scaling Export program. The application deadline is coming up very, very soon. So turn on your video, please, while we take a quick picture. And I want to see your best smile, okay? To those who have turned on their videos, thank you, but let's keep it coming. Please turn on your video. I can see you, TB, smiling. Thank you so much for that.
No, sir, please, can you stop sharing the screen so we can capture everyone's face? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to everyone who's turned on their video. So are we ready? I'm going to take the picture at the count of 3. All you have to do is open your teeth and say cheese. Yeah, that will work. Okay, thank you very, very much. To those who are still turning on the video, please keep it coming. Thank you. Okay, thank you for that This brings us to the close of today's session. So we'll come your way next time. Please don't forget to become a member. Don't forget to follow us across our social media platforms so you keep learning, building your capacity, and log in for every opportunities that we may have. Do have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Cassandra. Thank you everyone for joining. Enjoy the rest of your evening and see you on next month's edition of First Thursdays. Bye-bye.
Bye.